I'm back again because I'm on a YouTube roll and I wanted to talk to you about Chanel bags. And I kind of wanted to talk about how that has always been that kind of moment where you're in like a vintage shop or a charity shop or a market, or you're abroad and you're, I don't know, in a thrift store or something, and you spot a bag and you're like, holy crap, that's a Chanel, like that's got these, like, oh my god, is that real? And you kind of saunter over and you're a bit like, oh, I'm just gonna casually look at this bag because, you know, they might be in the store, like the sales assistants thinking, well, of course it's fake, like, you know, it's a vintage, like 80s faux naff, like, you know, that's funny because it's, you know, a really naff fake handbag and that's kind of hip, you know, or it might just be that they are completely clueless, it slipped through the net, and you are looking at like a beautiful Chanel handbag which is vintage and right in front of you for like £15. So I want to talk to you about, if you have one of those moments and you are like, is it authentic or is it not? I want to kind of give a 5-minute crash course on like, should you buy it, should you not? Like, what a quick spot check that you can do in a shop or at a market that you can kind of do subtly and not spend ages and not call a friend and not be like, oh my gosh, should I buy it? I don't want to waste £15 because I could go for lunch with that money, you know, or if I don't buy it, I'm going to forever kick myself for not buying it. So I thought I would do a video on that. First of all, I am no expert. I have a lot of Chanel bags. I've done a lot of reading up about how to spot a fake and a real Chanel bag, but at the same time, they have been making these bad boys for a really long time, and over the years, things have changed. Like, they've changed all sorts of things. Like, I don't know, like they didn't used to have serial numbers in, and now they do have serial numbers, and they have changed different leathers and the countries that they are made in. Like, at one time they were only ever made in France, but now they're made in Italy and occasionally Spain. So there are differences. There's not one way to know. There's just a lot of different ways that you can have a look and kind of get a quick judgment. And even though you might not necessarily have the definitive, this is authentic answer, it will definitely give you a bit of guidance on, should I take the gamble for £15 or should I go have a burger? So, so first of all, you just want to have a quick look at the leather. You want to have a quick look at the quality of the leather. How does it feel? Like, does it feel like a quality piece of leather? Like, does it feel good? And then you want to think about the stitching, and you want to think, like, look closely and look at all the edges and think, is anything wonky? Does anything overlap? You know, when you have a stitch and then it comes back around and it stitches over the stitch, like, that should never happen. So do you have anything like that? Do you have anything where it's slightly wonky, it's slightly mismatched, it's slightly like the stitches are slightly further apart each way? Like, you don't want that. You want it to be just perfect. Like, the quilting should be perfect straight lines, the edges should be perfectly done, like everything should be perfect. And I know everybody always talks about stitching, but sometimes you can be like, well, what am I looking for? And it's like, here you just want, see that top line? If it's fake, it's possible that that stitching is not real. Next, I want to talk about the chain. So, for instance, this is a thin chain, whereas on this bag it's a much thicker chain, but so the chain will be proportional to the bag, but at the same time, even though this is a much thinner chain, because this is like a clutch, I'll show you, it's a clutch with a small chain, so it's like an evening bag, but then if you're dancing away and you want to just throw it over your shoulder, you can do that. So this is quite a thin chain, but still, when you touch it, it feels weighty. And when you feel it and you kind of hear it, it doesn't sound tinny. It feels quite substantial and like quality. So you want to look at the chain and think, does it feel like a heavy, good quality chain? Even if it's a thin chain like this, it's going to feel heavy for the chain size, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? And then also you want to look at the colour of the chain next to the colour of the hardware, and that should match perfectly. Even if the bag is a bit older and it's kind of faded slightly on terms of everything, it should still be the same colour. And also it shouldn't have really faded, because a real Chanel bag will be made with, like, the chain will be dipped in 24 karat gold, I think it is, or 18 karat gold, so it's gold plated, and it's not flash plated, it's dipped, I think. So it should be quite good quality, and it shouldn't have really faded. So do look out for it's faded. And sometimes, I know this sounds really weird, but if you smell the chain, like, it doesn't have that horrible metallic smell to it. It should smell more like nothing, which this one does, obviously, because I bought it in the shop. Right, next thing, if it has a serial card, ignore it. Because the serial card should match the serial number, which for me is on the inside of this bag. I don't know if you can see that white tab at the bottom. Basically, that has a serial number on. Even if the serial card is in there, like, it doesn't mean it's real. Basically, they do also copy the authenticity cards, and also the serial numbers at the bottom, they also can fake them too. But what you can do, if you can look inside the bag, and then you can read off the number, and then you can get your phone, and you can basically type in to Google Chanel bag, and then the serial number. And if it's fake, there are loads of websites which come up being like, known fake Chanel bag numbers, serial numbers. And then you'll know if your number is on there, then the bag's fake. Because each Chanel handbag has its own personal serial number, which is different to Louis Vuitton, just so you know, which they actually don't have unique serial numbers. They just have serial numbers for, like, the style of the bag and the year. So you will get, like, multiple Louis Vuitton bags with the same serial number, but with Chanel that should never happen. So if your bag has the same serial number as like, basically other Chanel bags, then it won't be real. So if you Google it and you find listings for, like, eBay, Gumtree, known Chanel bags, like, you know, known fake Chanel bag websites, like on purse forums and stuff, you'll be like, just put it away. So that's another good thing to look out for. And then, oh, the heat stamp. So this is the heat stamp. So on mine, can you see? Can you see, am I holding it in the right place? So if you look at it, like, it is perfect. Like, the outline of the letters is perfect. Like, that gold is perfect. The space between the C and the H is perfect. Then the H and the A, like, all the spacing between each and every letter is perfect. And even this tiny little R, can you see? Like, the tiny little R, even though it's tiny, it's like that. It's, the circle is perfectly round and it's perfectly crisp, and there's no smudgy edges or any, like, it doesn't bleed into anything. It's just perfect. And then underneath, the made in Italy, that's absolutely fine, by the way. A lot of them are made in Italy now, because basically they couldn't make them all in, like, I think at first they made them all in Paris, and then they made them all in France as a whole, and now they're making them in France, Italy, and I think Spain as well. So if it says Italy, don't worry, it doesn't have to be made in France. But again, the country underneath, the heat stamp should again be perfect. I think that's it. And the other thing to look out for is just that it all lines up. Like, let me show you this. So look at the front of the bag. Look where that, like, even though this is one part of the bag, because that's a flap, and then this is the main part of the bag, like, that line matches up. That line matches up. So this diamond of the quilt that meets in the middle is perfect. Like, if it looks more like this, oh wait, like that, and it doesn't quite match, don't bother. They don't do that. It should literally quilt up perfectly, despite the fact that you've got the flap. That is also a telltale sign. It's a bit like the whole Louis Vuitton never cut through their monogram thing, you know, where the letters are. It's a bit like that. They always keep the quilted diamonds perfect wherever possible. I mean, on the edge it might not be as possible, but definitely on the front, perfect. And that is it really. I mean, you can't spend too long examining it, but I just wanted to kind of run through a few little ways, just because I know I've been in kind of vintage shops before and I've been like, oh my God, is that real? And if you do have just a quick feel of the chain, a quick look at the stitching, a quick look at the leather, a quick look at the serial number, like quickly Google it on your phone, you can very, very, very often just go fake, or it might be real, I'm gonna get it, and then I'm gonna get it authenticated properly when I get home, but at least you'll know that you've taken a good gamble for £15, but it might not be real, but it's a good gamble. And also I'd say if it's something like £50, be very, very careful. And if it's £1, just buy it regardless, because you just never know. Cool, I think that's everything. Thank you so much. I hope you liked this video. If you want to subscribe, feel free, you know, make my follower count, you know, 5 subscribers rather than 4. And if you feel like commenting about anything Chanel related, like let me know. If you feel like commenting just to kind of say like, oh, you're so awkward in front of the camera, feel free. And if you want to subscribe, that'd be cool. And if you want to do a thumbs up or any of that thing, like that'd be cool, but you don't have to, obviously. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.